Hey everyone, it's Lola and welcome back to With Love Lola. Here on the podcast, we explore messy, complicated, and totally real side of life where there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but plenty of love and wisdom to share. Let's get into today's first story. I just found out that I was the other woman to my cheating husband. I, 37 female, have been with my husband, 40 male, for 13 years and married for 9. We have 2 sons, 6 and 8, and have been happily married with the usual ups and downs you would expect in a relationship. But we have been happy, very happy. My mother-in-law has a terminal disease and expected to pass very, very soon. So we have flown over to spend time with everyone. They are Australian and we live in the US. They used to fly over and stay with us all the time before mother-in-law got sick. I love my mother-in-law and father-in-law. They have been amazing grandparents and very lovely to me. Yesterday, my husband and father-in-law looked after the kids, while my mother-in-law and I had a spa day. When we were driving home, she started getting very upset and she ended up getting me to pull over. Then she dropped the news. When I met my husband, he was still in a relationship with his ex. I came to Australia on a working holiday at a snow resort and my husband was working at the same place. We quickly fell in love. He came to the US for the next season. We did that for a few years around the world before settling down. Mother-in-law had just revealed that he had a long-term 4-year girlfriend at the time. He was driving back every few weeks to see her, and she apparently visited once. According to mother-in-law, she wasn't a huge fan of the girlfriend, but has felt terrible keeping the secret for so long and wanted to get it off her chest before she passed. Basically, my husband up and left Australia and ditched everything he had and knew, ghosted all of his old childhood friends, girlfriends, etc. His parents moved states not long after, so there was next to no ties to his old life. There were so many lies. He said he used to visit his parents on those trips the first year we met. No, he was fucking his girlfriend for 4 months, going on dates, hanging out with her family. She visited for days. I don't really know how to feel right now. I feel so betrayed and lost. I can't trust him again, but I don't think I could be a single mom. I feel so lost right now. She has a small edit and says, just so people know, we were exclusive after the Australian snow season ended, which is from June to October. We both came back to the US for our snow season. We did that, switching between the hemispheres together for a few years. I haven't spoken with my husband yet, but I'm going to approach the situation gently. Like, these are one of those things where it's like, you're living a great life. If you hadn't known, this wouldn't affect you at all. I'm not defending this at all, okay? But I'm saying, by you bringing this up, what do you gain out of it, right? It sucks, but it's like, I would rather not know. If I have a good life and nothing has been affecting me, I may be the only one who feels this way, right? But it's like, why am I going to think about this now all the time? It's going to give me a headache. There's literally nothing I can do. Are you going to want to leave him because of what he did in the past? It is scummy behavior, don't get me wrong. But if you, yeah, it's like, why tell me now? What's the point? I have kids with him. I'm happily married with him. Why tell me now? So you can have an easy deathbed? That's selfish. I found my wife's secret Google account and I'm sick to my stomach. I, 36 male, met my wife Bailey, 33 female, 9 years ago through mutual coworkers and we hit it off immediately. I fell absolutely head over heels with this woman. She was everything I was looking for. I had gotten out of a toxic, dare I say abusive, long-term relationship right before that with the woman Bailey had been acquainted with, but not friends with. I had her blocked on everything and had no contact with her since breaking up. We got married right after the tail end of the pandemic, bought our first house together, and started trying to conceive. That was difficult because Bailey has PCOS, but last year she finally gave birth to our first daughter. I'm having a blast being a dad. It's kind of a dream come true. I finally got my happy life with my perfect wife. My perfect wife until last Monday. My laptop's battery shit the bed, so I opened up Bailey's work tablet with an attached keyboard. You can set it up like a monitor to check on some tax stuff. She wasn't home. It was just me and the baby, but we've never asked permission to use each other's devices. We've always been open like that. There's nothing for us to hide. That's what I thought. When I opened up the internet, I noticed she had the incognito tab open. Never in a million years did I expect to discover what I did. So many things running through my brain. What could it be? I don't want to say them out loud because they're all bad. And what if the one thing he found isn't as bad as I'm thinking? My wife has a secret Google account with a photo album saved called XX. So I clicked on it. Did I discover an affair? Nudes? Nope. In this Google album were over 300 photos, 348 to be specific, of my ex. The woman I was with right before I met Bailey. The woman who tormented me and made me feel worthless. The album said it was started back right around the time Bailey and I started dating and was updated as recently as 2 weeks ago. The photos range from candid shots with family to pictures at her work functions. There were even pictures from her yearbook. I don't know how Bailey could have found her high school yearbook photos. photos from vacations, ID photos from work, pictures of her in crowds, screenshots of videos and screen recordings of videos. Just her. The other people in the photos would be scribbled out, or the photo would be cropped and zoomed in just on my ex. There was another disturbing thing I found too. There was another album with just zoomed up pictures of my ex's hair. Come to think of it, Bailey had recently started wearing her hair different and my ex had a very identifiable hair type. There was another album with screenshots of comments on social media. Of course, I can't find them because I have her blocked, like Facebook groups she's in and public posts. And my ex is very low-key on social media. I can't imagine the lengths Bailey went to find them. My ex literally lives in another country now. There were also different links to the exact outfits she was wearing, like very specific blouses and trousers you'd have to really go looking for to find. A specific water bottle I remember her purchasing, and identical hiking boots and sandals. Oh my gosh, your wife is a grade A stalker. So basically, my partner of almost a decade has been single white femaling my ex-girlfriend, has secretly stalked her to the point of buying her exact clothes and changing her hair, and now I'm just starting to realize Bailey's new interests over the years were just my ex's. Bailey has turned herself into my ex. Everything feels like a lie. Our love feels like a lie. The things we share feel like a lie. I threw up and had a panic attack. I looked at our daughter and felt betrayed. I haven't confronted her yet. I don't know if I want to. I want to run away with our daughter. I want to print out all of her pictures, leave them on the table, and disappear. I don't know what to do. I just want to throw up. This is really, really scary. I would realistically, oh man. Something like that happens, you literally question the sincerity of your entire relationship. I think you need to get away and situate yourself alone with your daughter and then eventually have a conversation and be like, what the fuck? What is this? You have some explaining to do and see if, would you guys think this is like repairable and after a conversation, or is this something that you just gotta run? I don't know. It's hard because you have a kid involved, but why would you do that? If you knew he has such a bad relationship with her, what made you think that copying her would be what he would want, especially if he has her blocked? Oh, I wish there was an update, but there's not. My husband of 20 years has been cheating on me with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend. I'm going to use pseudonyms for anyone I reference in this post. I, 41 female, am a stay-at-home mom. My husband, 48 male, whom we'll call Paul, works in finance. We have been married for nearly 20 years. We have 2 kids, whom we'll call Eric, our 18-year-old son, currently a senior in high school, and Mary, our 15-year-old daughter. My marriage with my husband has grown somewhat stale over the years for a myriad of reasons, such as his work schedule and how I've aged poorly since we first met. Okay, why are you blaming yourself? Okay, he's aging too, obviously. Our son Eric has a girlfriend, 18 female, whom he's been dating since they were freshmen in high school. We'll call her Amy. Eric absolutely adores Amy. She's his first love, and she's someone I've always considered as family. This makes the whole situation emotionally excruciating for me. Last week, I inadvertently saw my husband's phone screen and got a glimpse of a text thread between my husband and Amy, our son's girlfriend. And I read what looked like a message of her telling him that she misses, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say what she says, but she goes, please put this out. Mrs. sucking his yuck! I froze in place. In complete disbelief, I spent most of the day convincing myself that I must have misread what I saw. However, I didn't misread it because over the last several days, I discovered a file on his computer filled with tons of BDSM porn. He clearly has a porn addiction. He also has saved photos of Amy from her Instagram on his computer. Although they weren't inappropriate, she was fully clothed, it was still the proof I needed to confirm that I wasn't going crazy. I also looked at his phone during opportune moments and saw more of their interactions. I wish I never looked. They were filled with mean, horrible things said at my expense, with him constantly comparing me to her. He would call me fat and old, among other things, with Amy LOLing. I've always had hunches or paranoid feelings that Paul has been cheating on me, but never in a million years could I fathom something like this. Last month, I found a thong in our bedroom that I know wasn't mine. I turned a blind eye to it, being naive and acting like it was maybe our daughter's, even though that made zero sense. Not only is he cheating on me, but he's betraying our son. I'm completely devastated. I don't even think words can adequately describe the dread, anger, shock I feel right now. I'm totally overwhelmed on how to handle this because obviously action needs to be taken, but I'm terrified of what kind of psychic blow this will be for my son. I have no idea how to even approach this completely fucked up topic with him. I wouldn't wish this predicament on my worst enemy. I can't even believe I married this scumbag in the first place. Like, that just shows your character, right? It's devastating to find out your husband is cheating on you, having an affair in your house, all that. And to find out it was an 18-year-old, your son's girlfriend, I feel like you're just swallowing the pain that you feel, and you're more concerned about how your son's gonna take this. And you feel bad that your son's father is someone that you picked, that you're calling him a scumbag. Like, I just, like, I feel for you. Like, you're just scared on how to approach your son on the situation, which I can't even. Ugh. Because if you think about it, it's like you can leave your husband and have no connection to him ever again, but that's his father. He always has to remember that his father slept with his girlfriend. And then my mind started to race, realizing that I started noticing specifically unusual behavior from him around the same time Amy turned 18. Was he waiting for her to turn 18 before pursuing this affair? There's so many layers to all of this, and I'm completely paralyzed with fear and dread about it all. None of it makes any fucking sense. How did this happen? Am I that much of a stupid idiot that I let all of this happen under my watch? Eric adores Amy, and the thought of revealing the sickening truth to him terrifies me. The impact on his young heart and mind could be devastating. My heart aches for Eric and Mary, who are completely innocent bystanders. I haven't confronted my husband about this because I'm frankly scared of the domino effect. I don't know who to turn to first about this. I share my story not for sympathy, but in search of understanding and perhaps advice from those who might have had to grapple with deep betrayal. Oh my God. One thing that is dawning on me harder than ever now is the trust issues my son will inevitably have going forward in future relationships. The amount of rage and anger I have towards my husband can't be described in words. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't tell your son yet because I think kids at that age will act strictly based off emotion. And then once you talk about it, the domino effect will start. Try to get everything prepared, talk to a lawyer, have all the evidence, that he's doing all this infidelity, all that stuff, so that you're prepared so that when you do have the conversation, you are protecting yourself and your children. That's My boyfriend confessed something horrible. I really don't know how to start this. I, 26 female, have known my boyfriend Nate, 26 male, for 7 years. We met and dated from ages 19 to 22. Right when the pandemic hit, we had been together 3 years. It had been hard. Someone extremely close to us committed suicide, and we both just lost ourselves in grief. We eventually agreed we were not in the place to continue our relationship and went our separate ways. I was heartbroken in more ways than one. He was the love of my life, my best friend, my rock, and I was his gem, something he would call me. Losing our friend was hard as hell. I ended up isolating myself from everyone. I cut off all of my old friends, got a new job, tried my best to move forward with life. I dated around. No one really gave me that spark. I ended up dating someone who abused me, emotionally, mentally, physically, tried to leave several times. He knew where my parents lived and continued to show up and win me back. I finally decided I had enough. My parents' house wasn't a safe option to flee, so I left to my brother's, 40 minutes away instead. Wouldn't you know it, Nate lived right down the street from my brother. We bumped into each other and instantly connected like we had never been apart. I told him about my situation and he offered to have me stay at his place while I get back on my feet. Nate traveled often, and since he and his ex split, he didn't have a steady person to watch his cats, so I agreed. It took almost a year, but Nate and I decided to start dating again. Nate and I had been through a lot of the same trauma throughout our lives. That's how we connected originally. We just understood each other like no one else did. We were both abused by one of our parents growing up, both homeschooled, both of us had trauma from being molested as kids by people we trusted. The similarities we share are eerie. Dating Nate again has been the safest I felt in my life. I just feel at home. He really has been my rock. My father got diagnosed with terminal cancer a few years ago, and Nate has held my hand through it all. Nate's mom died from cancer when he was a kid. He has been such a big support, holding me as I cry, giving me reassurance as I deal with losing the only good parent I have. I've been a mess. My siblings have been there for me as well, but due to how our mother abused us, there has been a rift as our father is still together with her. I am the only child that will spend a significant amount of time with him. Nate has supported me every step of the way, staying with me at my parents', helping them around the house, making time to be there for them, often spending most of our weekends with my parents. I'm scared. Where does this get bad? This weekend wasn't any different. We spent the day with my parents. My father wasn't feeling well, so him and my mother went to bed, as did Nate and I. As we were settling into bed, we ended up sleeping together. No big deal. After the deed was done, we were cuddling. I was stroking his skin with my fingertips, as I often do, and out of nowhere, he grabs my hand and puts it on his crotch. Again, not a big deal, just figured he wants round two, so I play along. Sometime into playing with him, he whispers something to me. I position my head a little closer and say, Ooh, I see where it got bad. With hitched breath, he says, did you know that when you're married, you can't testify against your husband in a court of law? I was confused AF by this, but just said, Like seriously, what the F am I supposed to say or think with that when I'm in the middle of playing with him? Ew, I don't like that dirty. Ah. He continued and said, when we are married, I want you to do blank and blank to girls. I was like, okay, girls like how old? 18? He seems a little f***ed up. We aren't even that old, and he wants a younger woman brought into this relationship. Ouch. Then it hits me. What if he means younger girls? So I asked him, how young? He said 10 or 11. Oh my God, what the fudge? I stopped right there. What the actual name? I just got quiet and he tried to tell me not to stop, and I just didn't know what to do, and I froze in that moment. He knows I was abused as a kid. He was abused as a kid. Oh God. I told him to go to sleep and I rolled over. I've just been thinking about if there were any signs. He always said he loved my womanly curves and even encouraged me to gain weight. He said he wanted kids with me. I said I wanted a boy. He said he thinks he'd rather be a girl dad. It's all confusing. I remember we went to the beach a few months back and had a conversation on the car right there. It was along the lines of, do you think people attracted to kids can be rehabilitated, or is it hardwired in them forever? We had been listening to a podcast that mentioned MAPS, minor attracted person, so this wasn't out of the blue question, but the tone of it was. I don't know what to do. I've been in our apartment stress cleaning for most of the day, and now I'm writing this. I love this man, or loved him. I don't know at this moment in time. Is there something I can do? Should I talk with him about this? Ask him to go to therapy? Ask him if he was joking? Part of me is hoping it's just some weird king talk. I think I'm in shock over this. Am I stupid for wanting to get him help and not leaving right away? I just needed to get this off my chest as I feel disgusted since I woke up. Just hoping it was a bad dream, but I know it wasn't. He really said those things. Any and all advice is appreciated. Ooh, I was wondering also, where does this get weird? Like, I'm gonna read the top comment. I agree with this, where it says, there is no mitigating circumstances where what he said would ever be okay. Think about this. If you ever choose to have children with this man and something ever happens to your children, I would feel extremely guilty knowing that you saw these signs beforehand. He said all this stuff and said he wants to have daughters. Your gut's telling you to leave, but it's hard too when he has all these other good qualities, so I can see that. My doctor told my husband, 30 male, and I, 31 female, that our baby has many birth defects. I want to abort, but he does not. This was a planned baby, and I'm absolutely devastated. Me and my husband met in college and have been married for 6 years now. We have one son who is now 4 years old. I know some people are going to wonder, but yes, we did discuss our moral and political views before even getting engaged, and we're both pro-choice. When we were 21 and 20, we made a stupid mistake that ended in a pregnancy. We are both flat broke and not at all ready for kids. I decided to terminate, and he fully agreed with me and supported me. He loves our son so much and is an amazing father. He confided in me that he loved the idea of having a daughter as well. Luckily, we're in a good financial place, so I agreed and we started trying for baby number 2. We conceived fairly quickly and were overjoyed. We also soon discovered that we're having a girl. My husband was so excited. As soon as he was told that, he went all out and started to plan her nursery. He asked our son to help him pick which shade of pink he wanted, which crib to get, and what the theme should be. It was all so adorable. I don't want to reveal any personal medical history, so forgive me for being vague with the descriptions. At our last doctor's visit a few days ago, we were given the news that our daughter has severe birth defects. They think that she could possibly survive the birth, but any life that she gets to experience will be painful for her. There have been medical cases of babies with the same conditions to survive from early childhood to even the teenage years, rarely. These poor children suffer with so much pain and are uncomfortable their entire lives. They are very low functioning and need around-the-clock care, as well as several uncomfortable surgeries to try and give them a better quality of life. We were both heartbroken and cried for hours together in the car. Then we drove home in silence. Neither of us said anything until my husband began to quietly mumble his thoughts. He was going on and on about how we needed to schedule another doctor's appointment so we know what medical equipment we need to buy for her, and we should renovate the nursery again so we could care for her more easily. He said that he'd definitely have to talk to his boss so he can take a longer paternal leave. He wants to be by her side in the NICU until we can take her home. He talked about how we'd have to ask his mom to babysit our son more often while she's a newborn. He even said that maybe we could sell one of our cars, move to a smaller house, and take our son out of private school so we'd have more money to pay for our daughter's care. I was silent until he asked me what I thought. I was blunt and said that I think we should terminate the pregnancy. Now I feel bad for saying it that way, but I was still frazzled from the news. This made him very upset. He began to cry and asked why I don't want our daughter, even with disabilities. I mentioned our previous abortion. He said it was different because it was unplanned and we had no way to take care of the child. Now we're in a pretty good place financially, so theoretically we could shoulder the cost of our daughter. I have a bit of personal history with this type of situation. My best friend in high school was at my house all the time because her parents were way too busy with her severely autistic older brother. They did love her, but she was pushed to the side her entire childhood. I told him the story. He said that we'd do better by our son and daughter. My best friend's parents were stupid for having a second kid after they already had a disabled one. He then seemed hopeful for a minute and asked if I was just afraid. He promised that he'd be by my side the whole time and we could do this together. I told him it's not about fear. Our daughter will be in pain constantly if she's born alive. It would be a short and painful life for her. I love this baby so much already. I don't want her to suffer like that. He began to yell that even if she doesn't live long, we could still pour our hearts and souls into making her life as fulfilling as possible. I didn't respond as he stormed inside. It's been a couple of days now and he won't even look me in the eyes. He sits in the nursery for hours. Our son is very confused. I know he's grieving, but I really don't want to go further with his pregnancy. I love him so much. I don't know what to do. Oh, that is hard. This is really above my pay grade. I think you should go to like counseling, therapy, like grief counselor. They have all that stuff because of course it's hard to get rid of your baby, but like you have to look in the future too, where if you know that child is going to have a very painful upbringing, everyone's going to suffer, but more importantly, the baby will. Right? You're going to suffer, the mom's going to suffer, the brother's going to suffer from lack of attention. You're going to suffer from, the financial burden of it and just spending all that time with her, making sure she's okay. And then for her just to pass away at a young age and in pain, that's the worst thing as a parent. Like when I was younger, my mom would always say, like, whenever I was sick, she would say in our language, like, I wish God could give me your sickness so that you feel okay. That's how parents feel. Like, this is hard. After I made my original post, my husband and I rushed to get a second opinion. Nothing changed as it was still our original diagnosis. Once I learned that, I scheduled the termination for as soon as physically possible. I didn't tell my husband at first. He kept on raving about how we could give her as much love in her life as we can. I feel bad for this now, but I snapped and angrily told him I was terminating the pregnancy, that I know how he feels, but I will not allow my daughter to suffer just because he wants to love her. He was very angry with me after I put my foot down. After he realized his pleading wouldn't change my mind, he didn't speak a word to me. I was terrified that he'd go and leave me all alone with the scraps of our family. I tried to explain it to my son, but I think he still doesn't understand. Then, the night before the procedure, he stepped into my room and apologized for everyone and promised to be more supportive of me from now on. I was so happy and relieved, I started to sob and he held me all night. My original plan was that my mom would drive me to the hospital. Then, once it's done, a close friend would take me home. Since it was only the night before, he said he couldn't miss a full day of work, but really wanted to drive me home. I agreed to let him, and then the procedure was done in the morning. My son is having a long sleepover with my best friend's family. I don't want him to see me like this. The next morning, the termination was done. It went fine with only minor physical pain, but the emotional toll was crushing. After I was done, he didn't show up to get me. I waited for hours and he wouldn't answer any of my calls. I ended up having to call a friend out from work to take me home. When we got there, I just saw one note on the counter saying he can't do this. What the fudge, he left you? A few of our daughter's special toys were removed from her nursery. My entire life has fallen apart in a matter of days. I asked my mom to watch my son for a little while. I still can't contact my husband. Everything feels so pointless. Oh my God. Please tell me if another... You know what? I get it, you're both grieving, but I think that's so incredibly selfish as your husband to go. Guys will never understand how it is to hold a baby in your belly and then for you to go get it terminated. People don't understand how excruciating it is physically and mentally and emotionally is to have to do that. And for him to tell you, I'm going to pick you up and then not, that's cowardly behavior. And that sucks. Imagine going through one of the worst experiences of your life and the only other person who can relate to you is your spouse, and him not showing up is like utter betrayal. Oh, I'm so mad for you. All right, everyone, it's time for the last story of today's episode, which is the viewer submission, where you guys, the listeners, send me your real life stories where I read right here on the pod and get my reaction and my input as well as everyone else who's listening. So thank you again for making it this far to the last story. Let's get into it. My parents are forcing me to choose between them and my sibling. I'm stuck in the middle. Hi, Lola. I don't even know where to begin. I've been going back and forth in my head about what to do for weeks now, and it feels like I'm about to explode. My parents have put me in a position where I have to choose between them and my sister, and I honestly don't know what the right thing to do is. It's tearing me apart. I, 25 male, have an older sister, Emma, 30 female. Growing up, we were pretty close. Sure, we fought like all siblings do, but we'd always have each other's back when it mattered. As we got older, though, things started to change, especially between her and our parents. Emma has always had a bit of a rebellious streak. She dropped out of college after 2 years to travel the world, then started a few businesses that never really went anywhere. She always had big dreams, but they've never really panned out, and my parents have struggled to understand her choices. They've always pushed me to be the responsible one. And I've even been helping out with the family finances when things get tight. Meanwhile, Emma has bounced from job to job and spent more time figuring out what she wants to do than actually building a stable future. I'm not going to lie, but my parents have been really disappointed in her. A few weeks ago, everything came to a head. I was home for dinner when my parents started talking about Emma's future. It was the usual. How she's not doing enough to get her life together, how she's still living at home, and how she hasn't found her purpose yet. They've been telling her for years that she needs to make some changes, but that night, my mom said something that completely shocked me. If Emma doesn't get it together by the end of the month, we're asking her to leave. It was like the air sucked out of the room. Emma looked like she'd been slapped across the face. Oh, they're having this discussion in front of her? Oh. She didn't see anything at first, but I could tell she was holding back tears. My mom kept on going about how Emma needed to be more responsible, and my dad just sat there agreeing with her. That's when Emma finally snapped. She stood up and yelled at them, saying she was sick of always being treated like a failure. She said they've always favored me and never gave her the same trust or support. And then, just like that, she walked out of the house. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to go after her, but I didn't even know how to comfort her. Part of me agreed with my parents. Emma had made some poor choices, but I could see where they were coming from. But another part of me knew that throwing her out wasn't the answer. She was my sister. I wanted to defend her, but I didn't know how. Now things have only gotten worse. My parents have been pushing me to take their side. They want me to talk to Emma and make her realize that she needs to get her act together or face the consequences. They're upset that I haven't been more involved in helping them teach her a lesson. They say I'm being too soft on her and that I'm enabling her to continue making the same mistakes. On the other hand, Emma keeps texting me, begging me to talk to our parents and ask them to back off. She says she feels completely abandoned by all of us, especially since she's always been treated as the black sheep of the family. She's frustrated that my parents don't see how hard she's been trying, even if it's not the way they expected. I feel stuck. If I stand up for my sister, I'll be going against my parents. And if I side with them, I'm betraying Emma. No matter what I do, I feel like I'm going to lose someone I love. I don't want to be the one to choose who's right or wrong. I just want peace. But it feels like there's no way out of this mess. How can I handle this without losing both my parents and my sister? It feels like the more I try to fix things, the worse it gets. Oh my God. I don't like that they're bringing you into this. This is between parent and child. And I'm trying to put myself in your position. I 1000% get where your parents are coming from. You said your sister is 30. She's continuing making these, I don't want to call them let's call them mistakes, right? Or putting herself in these situations where she fails a lot and just, gives up because she has your parents as a parachute. Sometimes you gotta let the kid fall and realize like, hey, I won't always be here for you one day. Why parents stress out about this kind of stuff is because they will not be here forever. And the worst thing is a parent leaving this world knowing their kid is not gonna be taken care of. And if you are not able to stay in life by yourself at 30 years old, your parents are gonna get frustrated. So I don't think they should be putting this out on you. But I think you can have a conversation both ways and tell your sister like, hey, let this be a reality check. Get your shit together. Like, what are you doing? And then also have that conversation with your parents and be like, why would you want to kick her out? Like, that's not the best way for her to do what you guys want her to do. You want her to be homeless? That's how homelessness happens. But it shouldn't be on you. I don't think you should lose either of them. You say, hey, keep me out of this. Keep this between you two. Or you guys go to like family counseling and see what's going on there. Like, what has allowed your sister to continue that behavior? You have to break the pattern for people to change. Oh my gosh, that was a good one. Thank you so much for sending that in. All right, everyone, that's a wrap on today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to follow, like, subscribe, hit that follow button, comment, all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, with love, Lola.